The debut album from the English singer-songwriter and producer Alexandra Lila Denton, more commonly known by her stage name Shura, releases one of the most enjoyable, infectious and stellar electropop albums of the year so far, combining danceable, glistening synth-pop with lyrics that delve into moments of Denton's personal life that results in just over an hour's worth of solid music. Although structurally the lyrics are not overflowing with an abundance of detail and can be described as quite skeletal, there's a sense of honesty that gives this album a great amount of appeal. The main theme of this project, entitled Nothing's Real, focuses primarily on relationships and the emotions experienced throughout these relationships. Denton mainly plays the role of a shy and timid girl who deals with a lot of uncertainty and frustration, and what results are some endearing moments that encapsulate real emotional resonance and believability. Tracks like What's It Gonna Be and Indecision deal with the situation of having loving feelings for another person, yet they do not reciprocate these emotions. The first sees Denton mulling over whether she should admit her feelings for this person and hopes for a positive answer, yet asks to be let down imminently if this person doesn't feel the same, and the second track shows Denton's love interest in a state of limbo, full of indecisiveness, and she voices her frustration at waiting around for this person's response. Frustration continues over onto the track What Happened to Us, a song where the lead reminisces on a previous love interest but felt as though that she wasn't at a mature enough point in her life to embrace love, but as a result she feels as though this moment has left her feeling messed up. If anything, this album is quite a depressing examination if truth be told. Kidz N Stuff recalls a story where Denton travels to see her girlfriend at the time, only to discover that she wants to break up with her, which ultimately devastates her since this was someone that Denton thought she had a future with. Make It Up acts as the aftermath of Kidz N Stuff, which sees Denton travelling home on a train, recoiling from the breakup and is obviously upset, but she takes the viewpoint of those sharing the train with her and how they are unsure as to whether to go and console her or not. It's a rather unique perspective to take and it's handled very well. Touch paints a scenario of two people who still share love between each other but they don't feel as connected as they once did. Tongue Tied sees our lead desiring to be with someone just to stave off the loneliness that she feels in a fuck it let's go all out fashion, and the hidden track on White Light called 311215, which registers as the shortest track, sees Denton lamenting about fearing the day when her mother will eventually die. Then there's the opening titular track where Denton recants a time where she suffered from a severe panic attack, is lying in a hospital bed only to be told by medics that her condition has no medical basis, but doesn't accept this prognosis and wants some form of relief. It's quite a rarity on this album where relationships are viewed in a positive light and everything seems to be heading in the right direction. The only two occasions where this is the case would be on Too Shy, where due to her timidness she's reluctant to want to take her friendship with someone onto the next level, but finds enough courage and eventually admits her feelings. The lyrics really drive home the idea of hesitation and uncertainty and it comes off terrifically. The second track being White Light, which sees our lead enamoured with this person who she describes as different, which is something highly ambiguous and is something that this album tends to do a lot, yet she admits that she's willing to go anywhere with this person. Instrumentally, the album is centred on delivering synth pop tunes that are reminiscent of 80s style disco, and there's very little in terms of complaints to be had. There are many danceable beats scattered over the album and a fair few given their own little brand that makes them unique in their own way. The titular track including a bouncy ascending descending bass riff that plays off the synth lines and brief string appearances nicely, the staccato electric guitar strings in intermittent moments along with the bright and vibrant nature of What's It Gonna Be is such a joy to listen to. I also love the R&B vibe that's emitted throughout Too Shy. The light and soft synth line, the multiple keyboard pieces interspersed, the combination of bass and electric guitar, all of it is sublime and is easily the best song on the whole project. And White Light has an addictive futuristic vibe going on that combines a light disco sound with a deep synth bass, giving the song some substance. Even on the slower moments of the album it still holds up. Tongue Tied blends funky disco beats and guitars with the synths beautifully. Kidz N Stuff opts for a more melancholic downtone aura that matches the tone of the lyrics very well, and Touch also falls into the same category, throwing some guitars that are almost muted unless given a brief period of breathing space, as well as some hints of piano being thrown into the mix as well. Now I have pilloried some synth pop albums in the past for a lack of substantive lyrics, but what can usually save these songs is a certain passion and emotional resonance that makes the songs complete, and Denton does a more than competent job in doing so. Whilst there are a few tracks that don't leave as much of an impression on me as some, and the closing track The Space Tapes is by far the most superfluous track on the entire album, and the hidden track after White Light does seem like an afterthought that should have been included as its own song, I'm surprised by how much substance and depth this album has, even if the lyrical structure is simple. Some albums of the same nature come off as rather one-dimensional, paint by numbers, and the music seems more interested in deafening the listener and contains very little in terms of substance. substance. This album, on the other hand, is the complete opposite. There's great music, touching lyrics, and Denton's vocals are actually really beautiful. Overall, I score this album an 81 out of 100.